Jason Danard here from the Calgary Stockyards with your weekly cattle market report for this week ending August 21st with another wild week of trade. Late this week, President Trump announced that he is going to allow 300,000 metric tons of tariff-free foreign beef into the United States in an effort to drive down the cost of beef to the American consumer. The tariff rate quota will last for 90 days and beef will be sold at 25% under current market levels. This shook markets on Friday and, as you would expect, had cattle trading lower. The interesting part is that President Trump is suggesting that this deal will reduce prices for Americans while giving space for the great American beef herd to grow again. On a positive note, the USDA Cattle on Feed report Friday was, I would describe as positive, with inventory up an expected 2% year over year, but placements down 11% and marketing's down 7%. So some positive news there. Capping things off very late in the week, trade talks between Canada and the United States, as everyone has probably heard, did break down late Friday evening. The fallout yet to be realized. I don't know how much impact that this will have on the Canadian cattle industry, but I don't see it being a positive thing. And in the short term, fasten your seatbelts. We are definitely experiencing some turbulence here. On the direct trade this week, we saw fed cattle under some pressure, as you would expect. We saw a trade from $5.15 to $5.25 on the rail delivered, and that's about a nickel off of last week. Cows steady, however. We saw a trade from $4.35 to $4.60 on the rail delivered. Pay close attention to the cows this week with President Trump's announcement. This the class of cattle that will most likely be affected by the news. Feeder cattle market under some pressure, but almost steady on the week. A little bit surprising. Friday, even with that news, we did see things down a little bit, but relatively steady to last week. This week on team, we saw about 5,700 feeders trade as follows. We saw the 1,000-pound steers trade from $4.11 to $4.48, or either side of $4,500. We saw the 9-weight steers trade from $4.60 to $4.69, or either side of $4,400. We saw the 8-weight steers trade at $4.97, about $4,300. 7-weight steers, $5.39 to $5.75, about $4,200 per head. 6-weight steers, $5.91 to $6.71, either side of $4,000 per head. And the 5-weight steers, we saw a trade from $6.21 to $6.95, and that was about $3,700 a head. Moving on to the heifers, we saw the 1,000-pound heifers trade from $3.80 to $4.25, about $4,200 per head. The 9-weight heifers, $3.96 to $4.53, about $4,100 per head. 8-weight heifers, $4.60 to $4.63, or either side of $4,000 per head. Moving on the 7-weight heifers, we saw a trade at $5.19, about $3,600 per head. A real highlight on the 6-weight heifers, we saw some Charolais heifers trade out of the Brooks area. They were Charolais cross heifers at $6.01. They dollared out to $37.50. Definitely a highlight on the week. And we saw the 5-weight heifers trade from $5.64 to $6.34, or either side of $3,400 per head. And please note that most of these team feeder cattle prices are picked up at the farm or ranch. And again, feeder cattle still trading pretty strong, especially given what's going on right now. And demand is very good. Also on team this week, we saw some trade on the cow-calf pairs. On them, we saw a trade from $5,800 to $7,500. Hard to gauge, not the most desirable pairs in the world. Very usable pairs, but nowhere near the highlights that we were seeing earlier in the year. I think it's too early to say how much they've been affected, but again, trade from $5,800 to $7,500 on those pairs. And join us again on Friday. This week, expecting a very nice lineup. Historically, this Friday is our biggest sale of the year. I don't know that it will be this year, just with the turbulence that we're experiencing, but certainly a very nice lineup. This week also featuring Angus influence cattle. Give your local team agent a call to get your cattle listed for this week's sale. And for further market information, visit us online at teamauctionsales.com. We post full results for all of our sales. You can go back and have a look at the results anytime. And again, that's at teamauctionsales.com. or on Facebook at Team Auction Sales, on X at Jason Danard, email jasondanard@hotmail.com, or call or text anytime 403-519-8916. Have a great week.